Young Excellent Men, issue 4. The covers for this series have been good, but there is always some little problem with them that isn't the fault of the cover artist. This one, it has Inky Jones versus Eclipse, and that is up front. And my problem isn't that this matchup is a lot less interesting than Cannonballs and Wolf Club or Onyx beating up a bunch of Bondage Club soldier boys. But, we saw this on the cover to issue 1 as well. The covers feature Inky Jones with a shaved head, when up to this point, he has only been shown with hair inside. Our team, they are gunning to fight Eclipse, who now runs the Bondage Club. And to prepare for this, Inky Jones, he has shaved his head because his head is more space for tattoos. The gimmick is that, without giving away the twist, that they have already shown enough for you to work out yourself. The idea is that Inky Jones, his muty gift is that he gets tattoos and then he has powers based on the tattoos. This time, he gets a tattoo on his head that will give him telepathic powers. And here is our cast of characters. I do like how this book actually brought back this sort of graphic frame approach to announcing the stars. We have Onyx, Inky Jones, Blind Spot, who is currently being held prisoner by the bad guy, Cyclist, who brought the team together, Dusk, who has been transmuted into glass, and Wolf Club, who was shown last year, even though he has been written as if he is the team's go-to leader. Like the last issue and the issues before it, we have a scene that is primed for character exploration. And to be fair, there is about a 1% more character in this than in the previous ones. But again, it's mostly alluding to the plot or giving the reader exposition to know what the plot is. Inky Jones, he has a training session with Cyclist, and we continue with his complicated, is he evil, is he not evil, but he sold the team out, but he's still with them, but maybe he is just going to betray them again, but it doesn't seem that way. We continue with all that stuff. Another character scene here, and no character work. This is just establishing that Inky Jones's new telepathic powers do indeed work. And after this, we cut to our antagonists, Eclipse and Cannonballs. I like Yanick at the disco. I like him as an artist, but he doesn't really draw young characters. Kind of makes him colossally wrong for young, excellent men. But Cannonballs, I'd say Cannonballs, he is meant to be no older than 22, but this looks like a 52-year-old. One thing that does work in this book's favour is that both in this issue and in the last, They just got rid of Blind Spot. In this issue, we get to more effectively showcase these three members during their strike on the Bondage Club's headquarters. And I do have some positivity towards this first story arc on the book, or at least more positivity than most people do. I didn't think it was the worst thing ever, but there were a lot of flubs along the way, and after this first story, the book does a big Titanic on every possible front. Even this story itself, there is a thing coming up in the final part that I will be tearing into. It's terrible. Here's a double pager as our three young excellent men confront our two new muties. I think the new muties, them characters, their role in this story arc is not very well handled, but we'll come back to that eventually. Back at base, Cyclist, he is being attacked by the mysterious mutie called Gay Malcolm. Gay Malcolm, he has painfully been appearing in the shadows of the last 3 issues and doing out. So he finally starts doing stuff. Gay Malcolm, he was another new character, and there is actually a somewhat fascinating character in there, but none of that is shown in this series. There was another book, a mini-series, one of the anthology mini-series that they did a lot of during this period. There was a story in one of them focusing on Gay Malcolm, where it revealed all his backstory, that he was a gay mutie from the Arden days, who was buried alive for centuries, and by chance happened to be buried under the Excellent Men's School. None of that is relevant in this book, starring and introducing the character, however. Onyx versus Cannonballs. As a Cannonballs fanboy, I wince at the idea of him being one-shotted by Onyx. Are you really saying that all these years of experience with the Excellent Men and the New Muties and Excellent Force never taught Cannonballs that the big strong person is going to punch him in the face if he charges at him? Maybe that's why he's been drawn to look so old, because he has gone senile. But it starts becoming clear that this is all one big misunderstanding, and Cyclist, he is acting very out of character as he fights Gay Malcolm. And then Gay Malcolm, he removes his visor, and Cyclist's eye lasers, they didn't shoot out. What a peculiar thing. And don't worry, this isn't another editorial mistake. Lord knows, we've had a dozen of them so far in this book. You see, the twist is, it was never Cyclist. It was Good Tights impersonating them. He had been grooming these children to be his foot soldiers and have them get rid of Eclipse so that he could reassume total control of the Bondage Club. I think this twist is okay because it's not absolutely obvious. It starts becoming clear that something is wrong, but at the same time, you could just take it as Cyclist being written poorly, which happened about as much as the typos or the mistakes. On the other hand, I find it a bit dishonest and misleading that they openly put cyclist on the majority of the covers when he was technically never in any of them issues. There are problems with this book, but this is one of them ones that you can just turn your brain off for and get some entertainment out of it. There's a lot of elements that could be better realised, but there is a story here. There is some action. There's some decent art. There's some semblance of an ongoing narrative. The characters might not be defined too well, but even with just little bits of dialogue here or there, they all feel different enough. I've got to be honest and give this issue 7 thumbs up.